Listen, guys, this is important. Let's keep it real with one another. Okay? Let's keep it full 100. And there's some things that have to be said. And we have to understand that someone who lost the last election in the St. George Northeast constituency by 1,087 is not going to come and cross that 1,087 river in this election. That is facts. Even if the GSDP was helping him. Okay? I'd like to tell you that the St. George Northeast constituency is under the command of the GSDP. Okay? The only candidate that Mr. Ron Redhead fears in the St. George Northeast constituency is Mr. Nicholas McMillan. And that is facts. How do we know that? You should see Mr. Nicholas McMillan, a little over 3 months ago, had hovering around 2,000 followers on Facebook. After him being within, the umbrella of protection of the GSDP, guess what? He now has over 7,000 followers. Now, that is a clear indication that the people of St. George Northeast sees Mr. Nicholas McMillan as a viable candidate. Okay? Any other candidate in the St. George Northeast would not be able to take down Mr. Ron Redhead. It is only possible by Mr. Nicholas McMillan. Even the other parties do not dare enter the fray at the St. George Northeast constituency. Look at the others. Where's the DPM candidate at the St. George Northeast constituency? They've decided not to field a candidate there. Why you think? Because they know that the St. George Northeast constituency is a goner. It belongs to Mr. Nicholas McMillan. Facts. All the other parties that are running, they're not feeling any candidates in the St. George Northeast constituency. So I know, we have another candidate, and I would call it a sentimental run. Okay? Because Mr. Ron Redhead is not afraid of that candidate. Okay? But he's afraid. He is terrified of Mr. Nicholas McMillan. The gentleman is not even paying attention to the other candidate. He is not even responding to him. And I could understand the psychology. If you mercilessly meet someone, it's in your head, It's like, I took care of him the last time. And I can understand the psychology. It's like, if you mercilessly beat someone in a campaign last time around, psychologically, you feel like you're a hunch over them. You feel like they're small fries to you. You see what I'm saying? So you always feel you have an edge in them. You're not going to even pay any attention to them. And that is exactly what is happening. And in some respects, it's justified. I understand how Mr. Ron Redhead feels. He looks down on the other candidate. But you can see by his interaction with Mr. Nicholas McMillan, it's an entirely different interaction. When we pulled him up on the Tempe step, different interaction. When we pulled up Mr. Ron Redhead about our suggestion about the enclosed garbage cans, which he copied and started to put in Boca, okay? It's a different interaction. Mr. Ron Redhead himself knows that Mr. Nicholas McMillan is the lion that is coming after him, the buffalo. And with the reinforcements of the GSDP, there is no stopping Mr. Nicholas McMillan. Okay? So Mr. Ron Redhead, I suggest that you start putting your things together and packing. and let Mr. Nicholas McMillan do what he has to do and truly represent the people of St. George Northeast. Thank you, Tempe, for making the transition. You also have to understand the psychology of the electorate. A disgruntled NDC voter in the St. George Northeast will quicker vote for Mr. Nicholas McMillan or stay home than he would vote for the alternative NNP candidate. That is just psychological fact. Okay? If they're disgruntled and they're not voting for the NDC, they're not going to vote for an NNP candidate in St. George Northeast. They will quicker vote for the new arrival, Mr. Nicholas McMillan. So if you can't see that, then you're in the wrong business. That is why I urge you to carefully look at the situation in the St. George Northeast. And you would know that the St. George Northeast influences, it's like a valley. It's like the flow down a valley. It influences the River Road polling station. And in some respects, I believe because it is adjacent to the tongue of St. George, it influences what happens in the tongue of St. George. Okay? So the choice is clear. Mr. Nicholas McMillan for St. George Northeast. If you're truly interested in sending these charlatans and imposters packing, you have to understand that the St. George Northeast constituency belongs to Mr. Nicholas McMillan. He is the only candidate who understands, who can identify, and who feels the struggles of the people of St. George Northeast. And thank you so much. Many of you, especially in the Tempe area, who has reached out. We know you're disgruntled. We know you're dissatisfied. And we know you see too what the NDC administration is doing right now after the GSDP spoke about disenfranchisement of Mr. Ron Redhead and disrespect of the St. George Northeast constituency. You see too what they're doing. They're trying to pretend that they have some sort of love for Mr. Ron Redhead. They have neither love nor respect for that young man. They've shown it. So now they're pretending, oh, let's pull him on board. Let's put him as the ICT minister. Hopefully that's going to affect, the St. George Northeast constituency voter and have them believe that, we didn't disenfranchise them. But they already know that. You disrespected the St. George Northeast constituency voter by kicking out Mr. Ron Redhead off cabinet, where he had an opportunity to actually funnel resources to the St. George Northeast. And look how long you kicked him out. And now that probably, campaign season, election season is in the air, you're trying to pull him back in cabinet to make the people of St. George Northeast constituency believe that somehow you care and respect Mr. Ron Redhead, and you believe that he's some sort of good candidate for St. George Northeast constituency, when you know that is not the case. But I have told you, the people of St. George Northeast constituency are intelligent people. And you can't fool them. The damage is already done. Okay? You have destroyed their faith in you because we saw how you treated them like a piece of rag. You got their votes. Okay? Just keep in mind. Especially, as I said, many of these people are reaching out to the GSDP. And they're expressing their disgust. But there is a home in the GSDP. We will truly represent you. Have no fear. In this upcoming election, there's only one choice. the GSDP's candidate, Mr. Nicholas McMillan. Thank you for your vote. See you in Parliament.